Why do some men suddenly run back the moment you stop paying attention to them? It feels confusing because someone who seemed distant, unsure, or even ready to leave suddenly becomes interested again the moment you step away. Many people have experienced a moment in a relationship where things haven't been going well for weeks. The connection feels weaker, conversations feel forced, and there are subtle signs that interest is fading, yet both people continue spending time together, hoping things might somehow improve. Imagine walking toward a restaurant with someone you are dating and trying to hold their hand, but every time you do, they find a small excuse to let go. Deep down, you already sense the emotional distance, but part of you still hopes the relationship can work. Later during dinner, the tension finally surfaces and the other person begins to say something like, "I think we should just be," and you already know the rest of the sentence. Instead of reacting with desperation or trying to convince them to stay, imagine calmly accepting the situation and saying something unexpected like, "You know what, you're right, maybe we should break up." Suddenly, the emotional dynamic changes. When someone expects pleading, sadness, or resistance, but instead receives calm acceptance, something inside their mind shifts. The person who was ready to leave suddenly feels something different, the feeling of loss. In that moment, your attention, affection, and emotional availability instantly become scarce, and scarcity is one of the most powerful psychological forces in human behavior. When something becomes less available, it often becomes more valuable in our minds. This happens with many things in life, including attention and affection in relationships. When someone feels they always have your attention, they can slowly begin to take it for granted. Your messages, your presence, your affection all become predictable and expected. But the moment those things disappear, the mind reacts. Suddenly, the person begins to notice what is missing. The conversations stop, the attention stops, and the emotional presence that once felt guaranteed is gone. The mind starts asking questions it wasn't asking before, like, why did they stop caring? Or, did I lose them? Or, did I make a mistake? This reaction doesn't always mean love has suddenly returned. Often it simply means the person misses the feeling of having you. There is a big difference between missing a person and missing the attention that person provided. Many people become trapped in a repeating cycle because they misunderstand this difference. At the beginning, everything feels exciting. There are long conversations, playful teasing, emotional connection, and the feeling that something meaningful might develop. Then gradually one person begins to pull away. Their replies become slower, their enthusiasm fades, and their energy toward the relationship changes. The other person senses this shift and decides to step back, becoming less available and less attentive. Suddenly the person who pulled away starts returning with renewed interest. They say they missed you, they become affectionate again, and the connection seems to revive. For a short time, everything feels good again, but then the same pattern returns. After a while, the interest fades again, and the distance comes back, starting the entire cycle over. This push and pull can continue for months or even years if someone stays trapped inside it. The reason it happens is because the attraction being triggered is not always deep commitment, but rather the psychological effect of scarcity. When attention disappears, the mind reacts strongly, but once that attention becomes available again, the urgency fades. It becomes an emotional game of pursuit and withdrawal, rather than a stable connection built on genuine compatibility. Healthy relationships do not rely on these mind games to function. In a strong relationship, someone does not lose interest simply because you show affection or express genuine care. They do not require you to pretend to be busy or emotionally distant in order to maintain their attraction. If someone truly values you, your attention does not push them away. Instead, it strengthens the connection. When a person repeatedly loses interest, the moment you show real interest, it often reveals something deeper about compatibility. Many people struggle to accept this because when emotions are involved, the mind tends to create hopeful stories. It tells you that maybe the person is confused, maybe they are afraid of commitment, or maybe they will eventually realize what they are losing. But sometimes the truth is simpler. Sometimes the dynamic itself shows that the connection is not strong enough to sustain a healthy relationship. Ignoring someone can trigger temporary attraction, curiosity, or emotional tension, but it cannot create genuine compatibility where it does not exist. Constantly pretending to be unavailable or uninterested can also become emotionally exhausting because you begin to monitor every action. You think about how long to wait before replying, how much attention to show, and how to appear less interested than you truly are. Instead of enjoying the connection, you end up performing a role. Real relationships are not supposed to feel like performances. Of course, there is an important difference between playing games and simply having a healthy sense of independence. Being confident, having your own life, and not depending on someone's attention for your happiness are all attractive qualities, but they come from authenticity, not strategy. When you genuinely have a full life and your happiness does not depend on someone constantly validating you, your energy naturally becomes more attractive because you are not chasing approval. Many people, especially when they are younger, believe they must change themselves to keep someone interested. They think they talked too much, showed too much affection, or revealed their feelings too early. But often those moments simply reveal whether two people are truly compatible. If someone loses interest because you expressed kindness, honesty, or emotional openness, then the problem is not that you were authentic. The problem is that the connection was not strong enough to handle authenticity. Compatibility means that two people can be themselves without constantly worrying that one honest emotion will push the other person away. That kind of connection is what allows relationships to survive real challenges. Life eventually brings difficulties to every relationship, such as stress, loss, uncertainty, and disagreements. During those moments, the real question becomes simple. Who do you want beside you when things become difficult? Someone who disappears the moment the emotional weather changes, or someone who stands steady beside you when the waves get rough? If someone only wants you when you pretend not to care, that dynamic will not survive the real challenges that life brings, because real relationships require emotional honesty rather than psychological games. So if a man only chases you when you ignore him, the situation is actually revealing something important. It shows you how his attraction functions and what kind of dynamic exists between you. His interest may be driven more by the thrill of pursuit than by the desire for a stable partnership. While this realization can feel disappointing, it is also freeing, because once you see the pattern clearly, you no longer have to stay stuck inside it. Instead of focusing on strategies to keep someone interested, you can begin asking a more important question. Is this the kind of relationship dynamic that will truly make you happy? A connection where someone values you only when you appear distant will always feel unstable and uncertain, but a healthy relationship feels different. There is attraction, but also consistency, excitement, but also security, and curiosity, but also emotional safety. Most importantly, there is no need to pretend to be someone you are not, because the right person is not attracted to a carefully managed version of you. They are attracted to the real you. So the next time someone suddenly runs back the moment you ignore them, instead of seeing it as proof that the strategy worked, see it as information about how their interest actually operates. Once you understand that clearly, you can decide whether continuing that pattern will truly bring you happiness, or whether it is time to move forward and find someone who values your presence without needing to lose it first.